Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other.
I don't think most women can actually genuinely understand how lonely the majority of men are. And you need to truly understand, if you're Joe
from you. Maybe a little bit of warmth, maybe a hug, Dad. How about just a little bit of fucking decency? What is it with you people? You say that stuff about my mother?
Introduce a little anarchy. Upset the established order, and everything becomes chaos.
In 1990, the number of men who said that they had 6 or more close friends was around about 55%. In 2020, that dropped to 21%.
What do you get?
I don't think so.
When you cross
I think
a
we're
mentally
done with
ill
you,
loner
folks.
with a
That's it.
society that abandons him and treats him like trash.
Call the police,
I'll
Gene.
tell you what you get.
Call the police.
You get what you fucking deserve.
It's not about money. It's about sending a message. Everything burns.
The Joker, the clown king of chaos, the architect of anarchy, and the perfect rival to the Dark Knight. Something I've recently realized about the Joker is just how intelligent and cunning he is. Put it this way, Batman is human, of course, and gets a lot of flack for just being a guy in a bat costume.
Wait, you're not just some guy in a bat costume, are you?
But he's literally the best that humanity has to offer. He's 6'2" and weighs at least 200 pounds, which is of course mostly muscle. He has the financial backing of the Wayne family, which allows him to gain access to weapons and technology of the highest caliber. He has been trained by the most deadly assassins, fighters, and geniuses in the world. And yet, his greatest rival is not Poison Ivy, the girl who can possess any man with just a kiss, Ra's al Ghul, the leader of an entire league of highly trained assassins, or even Solomon Grundy, the modern-day Frankenstein. Batman's greatest rival is the guy in the clown costume.
Hi.
I need you guys to realize this. The Joker is low-key the most relatable villain ever. This is due to the fact that he's just a guy. No superpowers, no incredible genetics, no training or world-class education, and no family fortune to finance his many escapades. The Joker is living proof of what you can accomplish with nothing but brains, guns, and undeniable determination to destroy. Welcome to the library. My name is Donnie, and this is the Joker, the clowned king of chaos. In this video, we will go through some of the Joker's most gruesome acts, explore his origin and how it shaped his philosophy, understand his philosophy, and see how you can use it to win in all of your life's endeavors. To fully understand the type of monster that we're dealing with here, let's take a look at some of the Joker's darkest moments and what he has done in those moments. As I said before, the Joker is just a regular guy like you watching this video, so he wouldn't be who he is without the many gruesome acts he's committed. These include manipulating Harley Quinn to help him escape prison, and then after escaping, torturing her by electrocuting her skull, killing his own mother while she lays helpless in a hospital bed, killing 3 people in the subway, confessing to it on national television, and then killing the host of the show that he confessed on, forcing Batman to reveal his identity by killing people every day that he doesn't, beating Jason Todd to the brink of death, which then corrupted him and made him turn to the dark side, going from being Robin to becoming the Red Hood, corrupting Superman by killing Lois Lane, which made Superman murder the Joker in cold blood, and finally, corrupting Harvey Dent by killing his girlfriend, who he was engaged to, and turning Gotham's White Knight to the dark side as well. Are you noticing a trend here? The Joker seems to have a thing for taking very virtuous and noble people and turning them into villains. He did it to Superman, Jason Todd, who was the second Robin, and most notably to Harvey Dent in the Dark Knight movie. But why is this? He does this to prove a point which is the cornerstone of his entire philosophy. But before that, let's briefly touch on the Joker's origin and explore the worst thing that he's ever done. The Joker has always been a character who possesses a rather enigmatic backstory. Nobody really knows where he's from, who he is, and what made him the way he is. I'm sure the comic books give a detailed backstory of the villain, but the movies and shows tend to be pretty vague when they touch on his story. However, there is a pattern in how a story is told, and if you watch enough movies with the Joker in them, the story is pretty much the same. The Joker grew up in Gotham and grew up dirt poor, the lowest of the low, but this wasn't even the worst part of his upbringing. The worst part is the abusive household that he grew up in. The story changes from time to time, but essentially the Joker grew up in an abusive household, where the parent that raised him made his life a living hell. For example, in The Dark Knight, the Joker tells a story of how his father cut the smiley face scars onto his face.
Why so serious? He sticks the blade in my mouth. Let's put a smile on that face.
Or, in the movie The Joker, Arthur discovers how his mother adopted him and used to physically abuse him when he was a child. She would beat him and not properly nurture him as well, which left Arthur malnourished. One time, one of her boyfriends beat Arthur so bad he had brain damage and tied the poor child to a radiator. After somehow surviving this childhood, the Joker grows up and decides he wants to become a comedian. Since his life has been nothing but despair, he wants to bring joy into the world. Only one problem. The Joker, ironically, sucks at telling jokes.
Hello, it's good to be here.
And fails to create a career as a comedian.
Go. Did they like your act?
I have to go up on stage and nobody laughs. And you think I don't care? You think?
He then turns to a life of crime, which results in him falling into some sort of chemical bleach, or he just simply loses his mind after one bad day and decides to become an agent of chaos. That is the cornerstone of his philosophy, by the way. One bad day. The Joker believes that everyone is just as evil as him, and that all it would take to turn them evil would be for them to experience one bad day. The best example of this in action would be in the movie Batman: The Killing Joke, an animation film that I highly recommend all of you watch if you're a fan of the Joker. This movie covers the origin story I just told you and goes over the worst thing the Joker ever did. So pay attention and let's get into what he did. After rotting in Arkham Asylum, the Joker escapes, and instead of meeting up with any of his criminal affiliates, the Joker goes straight to Barbara Gordon's house. Barbara Gordon is the daughter of Jim Gordon, the chief of police, and she is also Batgirl. It is important to note that in this movie, her and Batman kind of slept together on a rooftop, and have had a lot of romantic tension between the two of them. So, Jim Gordon goes to visit his daughter, and is telling her about how stressed he is due to the Joker's escape.
I hate this. Whenever we jail him, I pray, please God, just keep him there. And then when he escapes, it's, please don't let him do something too awful this time.
As Barbara goes to get her dad a drink, someone knocks on the door. As Barbara answers the door, the Joker stands there, dressed in disguise, and shoots Barbara in the hip, paralyzing her. Before Jim Gordon can help his daughter, the Joker's goons restrain him, and then the Joker proceeds to do things to her that I can't speak about on YouTube. But you know, I'll put the scene on here, and you can put two and two together.
Our venue wasn't built with the disabled in mind.
Why are you doing this?
To prove a point.
So after paralyzing Barbara and assaulting her, the Joker then kidnaps Jim Gordon. Fortunately, he left Barbara, so she was able to get hospital attention. The Joker kidnaps the chief of police, ties him up naked, and puts him on a ride in the theme park. But this isn't an ordinary roller coaster. The Joker makes Jim Gordon, who is already naked and beaten up, ride through a tunnel where he is forced to watch the video and sees photos of his daughter being, assaulted, but not physically, sexually.
And the universe so big. Barbara? If you hurt inside, get certified. And if life should treat you bad.
Just imagine being Jim Gordon for a moment. Your daughter, the light of your life, your only child gets paralyzed, assaulted, and the man who did all of this makes a video and has a photo shoot of the whole thing, and then forces you to watch all of it whilst being tied up, beaten up, and naked.
I should treat you bad. Don't get even. Get mad.
And he does all of this while singing a song about going loony.
I go loony as a light bulb battered bug. Simply loony.
I'm sure many of you would absolutely lose your minds and would have no problem committing some sort of crime against that man, and maybe even others. The Joker gave Jim Gordon his one bad day. If you'd like to see whether or not he managed to corrupt Jim Gordon, I once again recommend you to watch Batman: The Killing Joke. The Joker's life is just a process of him going from one horrible event to another, until he hits rock bottom. Once he's at rock bottom, he realizes that none of it really matters. Dreams, aspirations, love, the American dream. It's all one big joke, told to the masses by the elites in order to keep them in line. The Joker, of course, is at the very bottom of the totem pole. He is at the bottom of what I like to call the pyramid of pain, which I'll explain now. Basically, a group of people settle onto a piece of land, but very quickly they are separated into groups: the rich and the poor, the strong and the weak. Those who don't have perfect lives develop trauma and pain, which they pass on to anyone who is weaker than them. For example, the man who works a very dangerous job in the mines that doesn't pay him well comes home to a wife who is always yelling at him, so he beats her. After that, the wife, who has now been traumatized by her husband, becomes very cruel towards her children by either beating them or never giving them the emotional support they need. The children go to school and bully some other poor kid, who then becomes a powerful man as an adult and uses his trauma to oppress a large group of people for his own personal gain. On and on it goes, people throwing their pain onto other people without a care in the world for how it may affect them. Now, the Joker was at the very bottom of this pyramid and had to be the punching bag for all of society, his entire life. Whether it was his parents abusing him, children attacking him while he's at work, women never even noticing him, or him being fired from every job for the smallest reasons. The Joker realized the cold hard truth, and that is that people treat you based on how they see you. Walk into a mall wearing a hoodie and sweatpants, and then walk into that same mall with fancy clothes and see how differently you are treated. The Joker believes that people are just as barbaric as animals, and that them pretending to be moral or virtuous is just a bad joke. It's a front for their true nature. In The Dark Knight, when the Joker hijacked the boats of the civilians and the criminals and told them that he would blow up both the boats unless one group killed the other, just look at how they all reacted.
We ought to talk this over at least.
We don't all have to die. Those men had their chance.
We are not going to talk about this.
Why aren't we talking about it? We're talking over.
They were ready to commit mass murder and didn't show an ounce of empathy for the people on the other side. The only thing that stopped them is the fact that nobody wanted to pull the trigger because nobody wanted that much blood on their hands. They proved the Joker's point. Crabs in a barrel fighting for whatever we can get. We may dress up in nice clothes and build amazing buildings, but from the Joker's perspective, we're all just a bunch of animals waiting to be let off the leash. So how can you, watching this video, apply the philosophy and mindset of this psychopath? It's pretty simple actually. It all comes down to two words: action focused. One thing we can conclude about the Joker's mindset is that it revolves around chaos. As he says himself, he's an agent of chaos. The Joker himself has expressed how much he hates plans, and that he himself is just doing things because he does them.
Do I really look like a guy with a plan? You know what I am? I'm a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I caught it. You know, I just do things.
See, the Joker has concluded that nothing really matters, so while he's here, he might as well cause as much mayhem as he can. To him, it's fun, and the killing of all these people is meaningless because nothing matters anyway. The thing that makes him so scary is that he has no end goal, he has no ambition or objective. He literally just wants to see the world burn. But when you break it down, you realize that the Joker is just a guy who's in love with the game and doesn't care about the points. He doesn't care about his reputation, wealth, or even his own life. He just cares about causing chaos. The way you would apply this is simple. Say for example you're an athlete in high school and you aren't on the school's basketball team. Instead of focusing on that and trying to figure out why you weren't selected, simply focus on causing absolute mayhem every time you're on the court and every time you go to practice. Imagine if, no matter what you did, you would not be selected. How would you play? You wouldn't give a care in the world about impressing people watching or looking good for scouts. You would just focus solely on the game. You would be free. Free from expectations, requirements, and most of all, goals. This is how you apply the Joker's philosophy, by falling in love with the process, with the game, and not caring about the points. Be that dog chasing cars. See, most people do things because they want things. People go to the gym because they want to be attractive to other people. People go to school so they can get a job one day. People get jobs so that they can afford a lifestyle that impresses other people. But imagine if you just did things because that's what you want to do. You freed yourself from societal expectations and norms and simply put all of your energy into the things that are important to you, regardless of what you may achieve. Instead of making music to be rich, you make music to make music, and you focus all of your energy into making the best music possible and not caring about its success. Instead of only making YouTube videos when your channel is getting views, you make YouTube videos because of how much you enjoy them, and you focus on mastering the algorithm. You make wild, outlandish content, and you take many risks because, well, you have nothing to lose anyway. If this video helped, please subscribe for more.